virtual space. We will give just a few moments for HAB members to join us for today, January 14th, for the Historic Albina Advisory Board meeting. Give us just a moment. Appreciate your patience.
Hey, Erica, and everyone else.
Hello there. Thank you for joining us. As I mentioned, we are in the space for the Historic Albina Advisory Board meeting for the Rose Quarter Improvement Project. We are giving HAB members just a moment to join us in the virtual space. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Erica Warren. Welcome back. Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you for joining us in the virtual space for the Rose Quarter Improvement Project's Historic Albina Advisory Board meeting. I'm receiving a few messages here, so sending out links again for HAB members. We're going to give them just 2 or 3 more moments to join us in the virtual space before we begin our meeting. Thank you so much for your patience. Good afternoon, all. Thank you for joining us in the virtual space. Good afternoon. Happy New Year. We're excited to start off 2025 with the Rose Quarter Project and the Historic Albina Advisory Board meeting. We welcome you into the space. If you all could please share our slides, we will begin our meeting today. Thank you so much. Next slide. If you all are experiencing any technical difficulties, which can happen, my colleague Dr. Holt always says technology is great when it works. If you are having issues, please avail yourself to the number on the screen, and our excellent support team should be able to walk you through and help you join our call today. Next slide. Today, as always, we will have an opportunity for the broader Portland community to give public comment if they so choose to join us in the space. We will have an opportunity for project updates for you to hear some of the really exciting things that are happening in our project from ODOT Project Director Megan Channel. And then we'll talk a little bit about the work we've done to date and then look ahead to 2025. We'll have an opportunity for our colleagues in the city to give us some insight into the work they have going forward. And then we will give some next steps as we close out our time together. Next slide. You all should be familiar with this. If there's an opportunity to engage, I'm looking to hear from you. Your voice matters in this conversation. That is why we have convened all of the Historic Albina Advisory Board members, because of their lived experience, their passion for the historic Albina community, as well as their professional experience, leans into all that we're trying to accomplish in the Rose Quarter Project. Your voice matters. We trust that you will be authentic and genuine, and that you will listen for understanding. This is not a place where we can solve all of the issues and harms that have been caused in the past, but we are diligently working to move the needle forward each step. We trust that you'll deal with issues, not with people, not to take things personal, but that we are working collaboratively to get the work done. You may experience some discomfort. I trust we won't today, as we have a number of exciting updates, but in this passion work, sometimes that happens. I trust if you do experience discomfort that you will remain respectfully engaged. Also, that means if you can have on your camera, HAAB members, we hope that you would do so that we can see your faces. We understand that there may be some additional obligations, or you may be at home, etc., and you'll need to mute your camera, but we'd love to see you if we can. We also trust that you understand we will not solve everything for the Rose Quarter or for the area in this meeting, but as I mentioned earlier, we are progressively moving the needle forward to provide a really transformative and restorative project for our city. Next slide. At this time, I am going to turn it over to my colleague for us to have public comment. Maybe there are additional folks in the broader Portland metro community that would like to speak to the HAAB and give comment in regards to the Rose Quarter project. So I will turn it over to Natalie now.
Thank you, Erica. As Erica mentioned, we are inviting members of the public who may be viewing the meeting on the live stream to make verbal public comments by phone at this time. If you are wishing to do so, please dial the phone number that's shown on the slide. And then when prompted, enter the meeting ID and passcode that are shown below it. After doing so, you'll be placed in a virtual waiting room until your turn to speak. And when the time comes, we will invite you to unmute yourself and say your comment. Speakers will have up to 2 minutes to make their comments, and then will be muted at time. If you'd like to provide more extensive comments to members of the HAAB, please see the options that are listed on the meeting agenda. So to make a public comment now, please dial the phone number 971-247-1195, then enter meeting ID 845-422-8686, and then enter passcode 909309. And you may need to dial *6 to unmute yourself. Please also remember, if you're joining us on the live stream while calling in, remember to mute your speakers to minimize the feedback. And so I am checking to see if we have anyone who is wishing to make a public comment in the queue at this time. And I'm not seeing anyone there. So we can give it a moment, and then I'll hand it back to you, Ms. Erica. And I am still not seeing anyone in the queue at this time.
Thank you, Natalie. Much appreciated. For those who might be listening in, please make sure, if you do have comments or things you'd like to communicate with the HAAB, visit the I-5 Rose Quarter web page, and there will be instructions there for you to leave additional comments, email, etc. So we appreciate you joining us. Next slide, please. At this time, I am going to invite my colleague, Ms. Megan Channel, our project director for I-5 Rose Quarter Project, to give some exciting updates in regards to our project today.
Thanks, Erica, and lovely to see all of you HAAB members. Great to be back with you in 2025, which is going to be, I think, Rose Quarter's best year yet. I have some great updates to share by way of funding and our project delivery plan, really providing an update on the approvals that were provided by our Oregon Transportation Commission back in January, and then the upcoming request for implementation at Thursday's Oregon Transportation Commission meeting. So first things first, if we go to the next slide, I want to acknowledge that back in beginning of December, the Oregon Transportation Commission did approve the updated urban mobility strategy finance plan, which programmed an additional $250 million to Rose Quarter. It was the shift of the House Bill 2017 funds that were with Abernathy, shifting those back over to Rose Quarter to support construction starting in 2025. And also expanding the work that can be delivered concurrently with the Reconnecting Communities program. So in sum, the project has, through that finance plan, $850 million in funding. So I wanted to just showcase kind of the holistic view of what that provides. So this $850 million covers all of the kind of planning, environmental, and design work, and our community engaged work and our work here together that's been done to date, as well as construction dollars to fund some critical key components of the project. And I want to emphasize that while this funding is starting the initial phases of Rose Quarter, that this is a start to delivering, again, our commitment to the project in full. So despite the focus being on, again, these initial phases and this initial work, we have this remaining commitment with ODOT and with our partners to deliver the project in full as we've been working with you. So the $850 million, again, will provide a number of elements that can start construction in 2025, that are leveraging elements that are shovel ready, as well as investing in more of the highway cover that's funded through the Reconnecting Communities grant, and providing some implementation of safety and operational improvements on the I-5 main line. So I'm going to dive into some detail on the two phases here that comprise this buildup that you see on the screen. So on the next slide, I'm going to focus on the work that would start in 2025. So we're calling this phase 1A. This is the construction elements that would begin, would break ground this summer. And again, are leveraging the components of the project from what you'll remember is previously communicated as early work packages A and early work packages B. Those were further through the design process, thus they're shovel ready. So this was an opportunity to not only take advantage of getting the project started, but how can we start to deliver the project and do what we can to reduce the impact of inflation as we start to build this project in phases, and how can we do it in a way that is focusing on maximizing opportunities for disadvantaged business enterprises, and again, in building that capacity in line with our project values for a diverse workforce. So the two components that would start in 2025 as part of phase 1A include stormwater improvements. So on the left side of the image, you can see some stormwater elements that would be completed under the I-405 interchange. These are not only needed for the Rose Quarter project, but they're also a requirement of ODOT's Portland Harbor agreement kind of for our regional stormwater elements for our facilities too. So it's addressing both of those features. And then on the south end of the project, on the right side of the screen, you'll see an area highlighted for bridge preservation work. So this includes bridge preservation work on the I-5 bridge structure that crosses through the I-84 interchange. So we'll be increasing the seismic resiliency of this bridge, new deck overlay, and some rail retrofit. These are a lot of our general kind of maintenance and operational improvements that are needed for the main line, but are also necessary to ready construction for the full project. So again, those elements will start in 2025, and construction of these will carry through the end of 2026. I do want to emphasize that, again, on that maximizing DBE participation and building workforce capacity, that for these components, we are able to leverage our what we call a mini CMGC process, which is providing an opportunity for a DBE really to serve as a prime function under the mentorship with technical assistance from our joint venture Hamilton Sunt with Raymore. So it allows them to get that experience as a quote unquote prime doing business with ODOT so that they're well set up for work in the future, be it on Rose Quarter elements or future projects in the region. So it's kind of an exciting element of this work. On the next slide, this is where we build into work that would then start in 2027 on the heels of the completion of phase 1A. So some of this work will look familiar to you, particularly focused around emphasis on the highway cover. So we know that we have the $450 million grant from the Federal Reconnecting Communities Program that's going to build the first part of the highway cover. So again, starting the construction there with the intention of being forward compatible for the future build out of the full cover. But what the additional investment allows us to do is to build more cover and make sure that we are going from the southern cover terminus up to the north of Broadway. So it'll cover the areas of Broadway and Weidler and Williams as a start to that first portion of the highway cover construction. Then the additional funding will provide investment for the I-5 main line. So it will build the full southbound auxiliary lane between Interstate 405 to the north and the Morrison Bridge exit to the south. There will be a partial extension of the existing northbound auxiliary lane as well between Interstate 84 and Weidler. And then we'll be integrating some sign bridges and intelligent transportation systems. So think like variable message signs that will help communicate to the traveling public what's going on during construction, but those are also key elements that will be needed for opening day of the highway cover, just to communicate the safety and operational components of that. So very exciting that we have funding to be able to begin this construction and get these key components underway. I know that none of this would be possible without the partnership of our agency partners, community partners, our HAAB members. So a sincere thank you to all of your community leadership and support along the way to help us get here. I will note that on Thursday, we will be in front of the Oregon Transportation Commission to implement their approval of the Urban Mobility Strategy Finance Plan, to implement those dollars per their approval into the STIP, which is where our dollars become kind of part of the statewide program and then the federal program to be able to deliver towards construction. So that was a lot of information, but really exciting stuff ahead. I will pause to see if there are any questions.
Not seeing any hands, Megan. Oh, just see one from Srinivasa.
Yes, thank you. Megan, I had a couple questions for you. So with the stormwater facility, I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about what that is going to look like, that particular element. What is the different aspects of construction of it? Is it an existing design that you already use, or is it something new? And I'm just wondering too, what are some of the community educational elements that can come with this this next phase of design or this phase of construction that we can kind of bring back to people and help them understand and learn about the process as it's going along. But can you talk a little bit more about that stormwater facility, please?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna phone in a friend. So John Wolf, who is our design lead, is with us. I think he'll be best suited to answer the technical question about stormwater. And then Srinivasa, I can come back and answer your question about some of those kind of engagement and education opportunities.
Yeah, thanks, Megan. Hopefully audio is working okay. There's two main stormwater features as part of that package. One is a stormwater pond that's fairly typical, adjacent to a lot of ODOT highways or freeways. So that'll be an excavated area that'll allow detention and bio treatments through plantings and soil mixtures that will address water quality before returning that to the stormwater system. And then the second is kind of a newer and innovative approach of a stormwater vault. So think of an underground concrete storage facility where that process runs through filtration and detention in a vault setting because of the constraints of the existing system and trying to tie into what's there. So we haven't really explored ways that could be taken out into the community and kind of shared how those systems really make a significant difference in our water quality and runoff. But that's certainly something that we could give some thought to moving forward.
Yeah, thank you. I definitely have some experience in taking those type of infrastructure pieces and thinking about, whether it's K-12 or, adult education and what that can look like. And I think it's going to be critical to keep the community engaged throughout this process, is really like making stormwater cool and talking about how it happens and the selection of plants and all that. So that gets me excited. And then I also wanted to ask about the IT systems. I think that was on that previous slide too. What does that mean exactly? Is it new IT systems, or what does that mean?
Yeah, so for the tunnel, part of managing and operating that tunnel, there's a need to communicate messaging for traffic entering and exiting, especially if there's an incident or maintenance in the tunnel. And so think of the standard variable message signs you see all over Portland, where we can communicate different messages depending on exactly what's occurring. One of the unique elements for the highway cover itself also is we're looking to implement a lane by lane traffic control and traffic management. So if there would ever be a need to close an individual lane of the freeway, like that there is unique specific lane management. You'll see some of that up in the Seattle and Washington areas, but has not been implemented yet in Oregon.
Okay, cool. And last thing, and then I'll pass it to whoever else has questions. On the benefits slide, I think it mentioned reducing the impacts of inflation. How exactly does this reduce the impacts of inflation?
Yeah, I can answer that one, Srinivasa. So it is basically putting the dollars that we have now to work. So we know that if we wait to start construction on these elements, we'd still only be delivering, these stormwater improvements. But with time, as we've seen, the cost of materials, the cost of labor becomes more and more expensive. So in the long run, you can deliver less in the future with your dollars than you can deliver now. So that was the intention there, just to identify that we're able to put those dollars to work as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you. And does that also mean that any of the funds that isn't immediately being used right away will be sitting in some type of like high interest account or some type of way where it's earning money to help combat some of those impacts of inflation? Do you all have a policy or practice around that?
I don't actually know the answer to that for all of our dollars. I can definitely speak to like the 450 million that we're receiving from the federal government for our grant. The way that grant functions is that it's reimbursable. So ODOT does the work, and every certain time period, I'm going to say quarterly, then we will invoice the federal government for that work. So it's not like we receive the full check for the $450 million. As it relates to the other state and House bill funds, I don't actually know sort of the mechanics of where those sit and how those function. But if you're interested, I could get follow-up information for you.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I forgot that it was a reimbursement grant. But thank you.
Yep. And to your point on the education piece, I think this is a prime opportunity for us to be coordinated with our contractor. Srinivasa, we've coordinated before on kind of the design elements, getting youth engaged in this. I think it's a great opportunity, again, just to showcase like the success stories of what it can mean to get into trades or into construction, sort of as career path opportunities for youth. So some exciting ideas I know that our contractor already has, but if there's some other opportunities that you see, would love to connect on that in more detail.
Yeah, absolutely. We can email about it. And then I'd love if other HAAB members who are here and then just listening in later, if you all are connected with or see a need or have ideas around that educational component. One of the main things that comes to mind is just tours, video content, multimedia content that can come back and live on the website in different places and help tell the story and keep folks engaged. So if other folks have things about that too, I'd just be happy to follow up and kind of connect the dots of some ideas and see what we can make happen.
That's awesome. Any other thoughts or questions in regards to the update that you just heard from Megan and John?
Erica, I will add one more piece to this. So in addition to the upcoming Oregon Transportation Commission meeting this Thursday, the next step in the process to program the $250 million is to work with our regional government, so Metro. So we'll be going through their process in working with regional electeds and leaders to program those dollars in the Metropolitan Transportation Improvement Program, which again is the space where federal dollars and state dollars get identified for those regional priority projects. So you'll see some meetings coming up on that in both February and March, and I anticipate that Metro will be hosting a public comment period sometime in February as well. So we'll share more details as we know more.
Great. Thank you so much, Megan. Thank you, John. Very exciting updates as we move into construction this year. If our support team would add our slides back up. Thank you so much. And move to the next slide, please. Wanted to give an opportunity to just talk a little bit about where we're going. And so this is just a brief kind of understanding of where we are in regards to the project. I wonder if, let's see, you all are familiar. Our Community Oversight Advisory Committee will be re-engaging this quarter. They actually have their meeting again this week. So you all know that is our additional community advisory committee that is focused on the contracting side, on workforce development, on labor and construction impacts. And so we'll be again coordinating with COAC as we do this work and continue to elevate the values on this project in regards to really creating something transformative for our community. The opportunities to get companies to work and people to work, and just the impact that that has on all of our lives, I think is extremely important. So the COAC, we're excited to have them invigorated this week as we plan for construction in 2025. Quarter two, you've been hearing the design team talk a lot about 30% design. And so 30% design draft plans submitted in quarter two of this year. All of this leading to us getting into construction this year. Q3 will be the start of the 60% design phase. And so a lot of the work that you all have put into this process in helping the design, and as we talked about girders and what it would mean to support, et cetera, that phase will begin in Q3. And then the start of early work package construction. We're excited about that also in Q3. There'll be some opportunities for the community to engage, we hope. And so as those plans develop around the start of construction this year, we will make sure to keep this group informed and look to you to help us propel the message, if you will, of the wonderful benefits of moving forward in this project. Next slide, please. Right. As we talk a little bit about what we've done to date and moving into 25, quickly, I didn't see you earlier, so I want to acknowledge Commissioner Alicia Chapman. Thank you for joining us today. Also to acknowledge our newest HAAB member, Ms. Kimberly Moreland, with over 30 years of experience in design and urban development and history. Had a wonderful conversation with her this week. Just the wealth of information to help us stay grounded in all of the beautiful historical context. So thank you. You all know Mr. James Posey has been a passionate voice on the Historic Albina Advisory Board for the last year. Mr. Posey will be transitioning to the COAC as the labor, construction, and workforce development components begin to move forward. And so we just want to publicly thank him for his service to this group, for his passion, for his leadership, and for being a partner and co-laborer. You will continue to see him as he is serving on the COAC. So just wanted to acknowledge that. But as we look ahead, next slide, I think in line with the spirit of doing business differently, just want to acknowledge ODOT's willingness to allow community to reach to community. And so as we transitioned from the Community Advisory Committee, the CAC, to the HAAB, and really acknowledging that we needed to bring in the professional leadership from those who are rooted in the historic Albina neighborhood, and selecting all of you professionals and your unique lenses. We've had an opportunity to dive into the work. Right. So we've gone through the independent cover assessment process that brought to bear the hybrid 3 design. And that was a long and arduous process, but we were successful in coming together uh, with the help of our previous Governor Kate Brown, and all of those players who worked together, the city and state organizations and the community, to come through with Hybrid 3. And then a great portion of that was that flyover design and trying to mitigate some of the challenges with movement around that Moda Center complex, and working with our partners at the city and RIP City Management. We came through that process and are moving forward. We had an opportunity to talk about our design priorities and what it meant to develop on this cover, and the future vision for what could come to bear on this canvas that the Rose Quarter Project is providing for the community. And so we have completed highway cover design, that 30%, and are moving forward. And we'll have some report out for you in regards to the conversations we were having around local street circulation and that Ramsey Wheeler interchange. We have had some great conversation in regards to the pedestrian and bike bridge configuration and all of those elements that link into the green loop for the city, as well as local street design. Next slide, please. So as you can see there on the slide, I don't have to read through everything, but we are moving along in our charter, right? So interim cover use, we're going to begin that process as we have envisioned what the future uses might be. What would be, as the process is building, what kind of uses could be there as we're working on long-term cover development. We will be looking to our colleagues at the city as we dive deeper. Many of you participated in a process with our partners at the Albina Vision Trust this summer to begin to flesh out what community vision was for the future. And that was a wonderful collaborative engagement this summer. Performance measures in regards to the values for the project. We talked about what does success mean? And so we'll be maybe bringing some of that back up so that we have a measurement in the future for what success is. And as a role model, this project has been for the country in regards to how to do business differently. So COAC, other community efforts, you all are continuing to help us advise and make recommendations there. Next slide, please. So for 2020-25, our communications and Rose Quarter Project team has done an excellent job of helping us be ahead for 25. We will have a virtual meeting in March. You will have all of this information. In city, we'll have the pleasure of working with our colleagues in April to talk more about the urban design. Interim use will be coming, but just kind of flushing out some of the future highway cover scenarios. In May, we're hoping to get in person as we're coming out, if you will, of a 100% COVID reality, and doing an in-person connection jointly with our COAC in May. And then in June, a virtual meeting. Next slide. We also plan to take this summer, give you all an opportunity to engage with family over the summer months, and then come back together for 2 additional meetings, likely virtual and in person, so a hybrid configuration for September and October as we close out the year. So 8 potential engagements for HAAB members in 2025. Next slide. With that, are there any questions before I move into the next segment of our time together? Andrew.
Hey, Erica and everybody. Happy 2025. Thanks for the scope of kind of like what's the year is ahead. I was just seeing if you all have any like community engagement events that you all plan to attend to with throughout the year. And if not right now, that's okay. You don't need to, you can just say don't, not at the moment, but if there are potential events that people could share, kind of going off what Spreno Pasa was mentioning about those opportunities to just engage the community and educate. Is there, do we just contact y'all, or do y'all already have some in mind that wasn't like announced?
Absolutely. And I see Megan, but I'll lead in with, we are excited to resume some additional engagement with community as we're going to construction. Absolutely looking for you all as HAAB members to be informing us and notifying us of opportunities where the project can be visible and we can educate the broader community about Rose Quarter and the benefits of our project. So Megan, I wasn't sure if you wanted to chime in as well.
Yeah, I'll support everything that Erica just said, and then I'll also add that our engagement team does have sort of some ideas in formation for 2025. So we'd be happy to share kind of the engagement program with HAAB members as well, so you can see what's planned. And then I'll emphasize, to Erica's point, we don't know what we don't know. So if there are events or groups that you're connected with or are participating in, help us make those connections, because we do want to be out there in 2025, kind of just for the education and engagement around upcoming construction.
Awesome, thank you. That's a great question. With that, I am going to invite Rachel Hoy, one of our colleagues from the city, to share some updates with this group on the upcoming REP project. Rachel?
Yes, thank you, Erica. Good evening, everyone. Rachel Hoy with the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability. Next slide, please. I just wanted to take a moment just to give the HAAB an update on some upcoming activities for the Reconnecting Albina Planning Project. And I have some newer updates that I can share that didn't make it into the slide presentation. One thing I can tell you for this, just a little background information, I think for some who may be newer to the meeting, the Reconnecting Albina Planning Project is a federally funded, through the Reconnecting Communities program, a federally funded grant. It's a 2-year grant, and it's Albina Vision Trust with some of our city partners, my office, Prosper Portland, Bureau of Planning, Transportation, are all working together and on this project. A number of activities have been happening to kind of gear up for our first event. And that first event has now been planned. There's a kickoff meeting, as you see on this slide, in winter. We note February, and we do have it now planned for February 27th, which is a Thursday, and I will get more information out to all of you. The kickoff meeting will be at the Albina Vision Trust new offices at 2156 North Williams. So this will kind of be a nice I imagine opening event and a kickoff for this Reconnecting Albina Planning project. So we hope that HAAB members will join us at that event. That will be a community event. We will be advertising it. We will also be sharing with you all this, I'd say, winter into early spring. As many of you know, we've had what we've called a pin it tool, an electronic mapping tool on our project website that has been available for the last couple of months to allow community to enter information about community interests, opportunities, concerns with this general broader district. This isn't just related to the I-5 project, the RAP project is a much broader district planning project. And so this Pin It tool will have some information. At this point, I think we have a couple hundred entries. And so we will be sharing that with you in early spring. And then as Erica has mentioned, I will have more information also at the March meeting about this April event that will be city-led, which will be a workshop with the HAAB. To look more closely at the work that you have done this past summer with Albina Vision and with Holst, to look at the highway cover and think about community uses and priorities for the cover. And we'll be working with you to look a little more closely at that and think about how those uses will interface with the surrounding streets and just the local street pattern and the urban design of the area. So we're really looking forward to that, and I'll have more information on that at the March meeting. And then many other events to come that we'll be sharing more information along the way into summer and into the fall. And I want to share this time today. We want to share a little bit more information. I believe Mike Saratella and a colleague, Brianna, are with us also today to talk about the Lower Albina Streetscape project and an update on that. Thank you.
Should I jump in, or do anybody have any questions? Or sorry, Erica.
Yeah. That's just fine, Mike. Go ahead.
Any questions for Rachel before we switch gears slightly? All right, I guess not. Can we go to the next slide, please? Hey, everyone. Hi, HAAB members. Mike Saratella back again to talk more about Broadway and all the exciting work that we're going to be doing from the city side to improve the safety and connectivity of the local streets in and around the I-5 Rose Quarter project. I'll share a couple quick updates, and I want to introduce you to my friend and colleague, Brianna Orr, who will be part of the project team. Brianna, do you want to actually introduce yourself real quick before I jump in?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Mike. Hi, everybody. Nice to meet you. My name is Brianna Orr. I'm a capital project manager with Portland Bureau of Transportation. Really excited to work on this project, work with you all and coordinate. So thanks for having me. I will mostly let Mike talk, but very excited to be here.
Thanks, Brianna. Yeah, so just some quick background in case you're new to the HAAB or you missed a previous visit. The Broadway Main Street project, as it was called when we received the federal grant at the same time as the Rose Quarter project, we sort of rebranded it as the Lower Albina Streetscape project. And the purpose of that is really to encompass sort of some of the broader project elements and streets that are involved in what we'll be delivering over the next several years. So there's the primary investments on Broadway and Weidler, but there's also a significant investment in North Larrabee Avenue, where we'll be really trying to open up a lot of the paved space on that street to assemble a public open space that can be used for activation, placemaking, and other street elements. The Broadway project is designed to extend the public realm and streetscape benefits of the highway cap delivered through I-5 Rose Quarter to better connect the Lower Albina district to the waterfront and inner north and northeast Portland, so the greater Albina area. The project designs a human-scaled urban main street supportive of the economic development goals of the districts. That includes things like wider sidewalks, greenery, lighting, space for public art, monumentation, and community gathering. This project will reduce barriers in access to transit, including from streetcar, and also make it easier for the new residents of the district to access the Rose Quarter Transit Center. As Megan and John and others have mentioned, we're working hand in hand real close with the I-5 Rose Quarter design team as they approach that 30% design milestone to make sure that when the dust settles and ODOT and PBOT complete their projects, we'll end up with a continuous, seamless Broadway and Wilder Street. And you shouldn't be able to really tell where the city and the state who built what, right? It should be a continuous urban design experience. I want to talk a little bit about the Larrabee Open Space Project. So another key element that hasn't really gotten as much attention, but it's equally exciting from my perspective, is the redesign of North Larrabee Avenue, which will reduce the paved area to match the historic form and function of Larrabee. It adds back green space to the existing sort of unloved bluff section facing the waterfront to create a critical amount of open space for the district. This is right across from the planned PPS redevelopment site. The concept design that we have includes walking and cycling paths, new transit service, serving Larrabee, new bus stops, different things like that. And space for monumentation, public gathering, public art, different things like that. And all the investments really meet at the Broadway bridgehead, which we hope will create a new gateway from the west side into Lower Albina and remind people that they're entering an important space in North and Northeast Portland. Next slide. Now, Brianna, if you want to talk a little bit about the RFP.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. So right now we are just completing our IGAs. So for the grant agreement that we got from the federal government, completing those grant agreements with both federal government and with ODOT. And so once we have those agreements completed, we'll be releasing an RFP, request for proposals, for a design team. So we'll work with a consulting firm on the design for this project, and would like to get them on board this summer. So looking for design to start on this project summer 2025. And then we have a few design milestones that I just wanted to share with you. So again, starting summer 2025, in about a year, summer 2026, we're looking to get to a 60% design milestone. And then summer 2028 would be our final design milestone. And then construction could start shortly thereafter. So fall or winter 2028, and construction scheduled to wrap up by the end of 2030. Of course, along those pieces or along those milestones, we'll have public engagement, especially early on. So I anticipate really starting that public engagement process probably in the fall this year, and especially around an early design concept. We might call it a 15% design concept, as well as a 30%. So within this next year, looking to share a few iterations with the public, with you all for feedback.
If I just might add, like as we're putting together this RFP for this design services contract, we, are trying to impress upon potential clients that this project is more than just about redressing past harms by investing in infrastructure. It's also about investing in people through real tangible job opportunities. That means jobs, but also career development, internship, different ways of opening the door to the design professions, planning professions, construction management, different things like that. So we're really interested, and we've impressed upon the folks that we've talked to that we are looking for a design team that really goes above and beyond the kind of standard operating ways of doing things at the city, looking to really emphasize those creative workforce opportunities and career pathways. So very much in line with the spirit of doing things better and doing things different than we have in the past. So we're excited about this RFP. We'll let you know when it is released. And we encourage you to share with your networks and have, that it'll probably end up being a design, like a team with a consultant and subs and different things like that. So lots of different opportunities to be a part of this. Oh, and then the last thing I wanted to talk about is that, from what I understand, just engaging with John, Wolf, and Carrie, and Megan, and others on the ODOT team, that there's just a lot of interest among HAAB members about the specifics, like the materiality of the urban design elements for the streetscape over the highway cap, which includes the Broadway and Leitler structures. So it's really a great opportunity for Brianna and I, as we're continuing to get our team on board and different things like that, to hear about what you all want to see in that space, so that we can honor that, and then that would inform the kind of urban design elements that we carry forward as we design and deliver the larger scale Broadway project. So I was looking at the timeline of opportunities for the city to engage with HAAB that was shared earlier, and definitely want to be a part of that. I think the April session in particular would be a good time for us to work closely and with the ODOT team and learn about what's important to this group. So with that, I guess that's all the news that's fit to print from the city side at the moment. Happy to take questions or follow up or anything like that.
Great. Thank you so much, Mike. Any questions, comments, input from HAAB members in regards to what you've heard from our colleagues at the city? I don't see any hands raised. I'll give just another second. Thank you. I see your notes in the chat. All right. We can move to our next slide. Can we go to just a full screen? Today's meeting was getting us reacclimated after a little bit of a break for the winter holiday time, to update you all on some really exciting things. I think the most exciting is shovels in the ground and being able to begin realizing all of the work that has gone into this project even before this board was formed. We're excited about the look ahead and the collaborative work with the city, as well as our partners at ABT to continue the work. We trust that as we continue in the work, that you all will be our eyes and ears and helping us to think about how we engage the community. Your expertise is greatly needed. Great question from Leslie in the chat. Will there be a groundbreaking ceremony for the project? Before I go too far, I'll let Megan jump in there.
Absolutely. And everyone on this board, HAAB, will be invited. So as we start to frame that out and get a date, you all will be included in that. So looking forward to celebrating with you.
Thanks, Megan. Other thoughts or questions from HAAB members?
I do
Yes.
have a question. I don't foresee really an answer, but for the city partners, do y'all foresee any challenges coming up due to like the new government within Portland?
A great question. I'll share just based on a little bit of what I understand with our new system of government. from a capital project management side of things. One of the things that our new form of government does is it has the city administrator take on a lot of the tasks that are critical for delivering a project, like approving a construction contract, or I'm totally blanking on other things that are similar to that, but that's one big one. So the delegation of responsibility to a city administrator, I think is actually helpful for the delivery of our projects in an efficient manner. But I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't know what I don't know in terms of this new form of government. I think it'll be a learning experience for all of us.
Any other thoughts or questions?
Thank you for giving some kind of answer. I know it's kind of the very unknown, but it's just something always on my mind as we continue to move forward with this project. So appreciate everyone.
Yes. Thanks, Andrew. Other thoughts or questions from HAAB members? Please take an opportunity to look through the look ahead documents that you received via email ahead of the meeting. As we discussed earlier, this will be a great year to tap into this brain trust in regards to engaging community and educating them about benefits, about infrastructure, and how this is being built to benefit them. We've been, since our inception, talking about how this project affects people. And aside from all of the technical aspects, it has been our goal to dive into values and how it affects how we all live. And so your expertise will be extremely important in the coming months, and how we begin to roll this out for the community, how we partner with the COAC and the other agencies that will be at the table to help make sure that we deliver a project. And as we look for funding additional, we'll be looking to you and this group, your voice, as we lean into our state legislators and other folks. And then for the future vision, right? And how we continue to help sustain ourselves as we move forward. If there are any closing remarks from you, Megan?
Just a sincere thank you to all of our community partners and HAAB members again. So honored to be able to partner with you. And again, looking forward to a great 2025 to start delivering this really generationally impactful transportation project that is, in my mind, going to be one of the most amazing national models to point to for transportation infrastructure going forward. Again, and how this is so linked up and done concurrently with community building efforts. So thanks for helping us make this a better project, and excited to deliver on that.
Thanks, Megan. Dr. Holt, are you with us? If you would close us out as we adjourn our HAAB meeting in record time.
Fantastic meeting. Sorry, I can't hit the camera and behind the wheel at the moment, but great meeting, and Happy New Year to everyone. Happy 2025. It is a year full of promise and opportunity for this particular work. I want to express appreciation for those who continue to carry the water. This is the work that requires significant, not only expertise and willingness, but risk taking, to take the risk to make a difference. We've had this conversation before, but I just want to elevate it again as we're in 2025. The work that you're involved in is setting history. Not that you went into it for this purpose, but it's exactly what is happening. What an incredible opportunity to begin to establish a new norm for the city of Portland. So thanks for being courageous. Thanks for being willing to be in the space and to do the work. We appreciate your partnership in this place. Thanks, Erica, for excellent facilitation as always. And best wishes, everyone, for an incredible year. Please make sure that as you're aware of opportunities for the project to show up and be engaged, that you're sharing that with us. So take care, everyone. Have a great night.
Have a great night, all. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you.